For decades, tension has been building in the Middle East between two powerful rivals, Iran and Israel. What started as political hostility has evolved into one of the most dangerous geopolitical conflicts in the world. Today, this rivalry is no longer hidden behind diplomacy or indirect confrontations. The possibility of a direct war between these two nations has become a serious global concern. Missile systems are on high alert. Military forces are preparing for possible escalation, and the world is watching closely. But how did this conflict begin, and why is it so dangerous today? The hostility between Iran and Israel goes back many decades. Before 1979, Iran and Israel actually had relatively normal relations. But everything changed after the Iranian Revolution. After the revolution, Iran's new leadership adopted a strong anti-Israel stance and declared opposition to Israel as a central part of its foreign policy. Since then, both countries have viewed each other as major threats. Israel has repeatedly warned that Iran's nuclear program could eventually lead to nuclear weapons, something Israeli leaders say they cannot allow. Iran, however, insists its nuclear activities are peaceful. This disagreement has become one of the core reasons behind the ongoing tension. For many years, the conflict between Iran and Israel has been fought in what analysts call a shadow war. Instead of direct battles, both sides have engaged in covert operations, cyber attacks, intelligence missions, and indirect confrontations across the Middle East. Israel has carried out airstrikes against Iranian targets in countries such as Syria, aiming to stop Iran from building military infrastructure near Israeli borders. Meanwhile, Iran has supported regional groups that oppose Israel, including Hezbollah in Lebanon and other allied forces across the region. These groups allow Iran to challenge Israel without direct military confrontation. But over time, the risk of escalation has grown. In recent years, tensions have increased dramatically. Military activity across the Middle East has intensified, and both sides have strengthened their defensive and offensive capabilities. Israel relies heavily on advanced defense systems such as the Iron Dome air defense system, designed to intercept incoming rockets and missiles before they reach populated areas. Iran, on the other hand, has invested heavily in long-range missiles and drone technology, creating one of the largest missile arsenals in the region. These weapon systems mean that any direct conflict could quickly escalate and cause serious damage on both sides. The Iran-Israel rivalry is not limited to just two countries. If a direct war were to break out, many other nations in the Middle East could become involved. Countries across the region closely monitor the situation, as instability could threaten trade routes, energy supplies, and global markets. One of the most important strategic locations affected by rising tensions is the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway through which a large portion of the world's oil supply passes. Any disruption there could have major economic consequences worldwide. Because of the strategic importance of the Middle East, the conflict between Iran and Israel attracts global attention. Major world powers, including the United States and many European nations, closely follow developments in the region and often call for restraint to prevent further escalation. Diplomatic efforts continue behind the scenes in hopes of avoiding a larger war. However, with rising military activity and deep political divisions, the situation remains unpredictable. The conflict between Iran and Israel is the result of decades of political rivalry, ideological differences, and security concerns. While both countries continue to prepare for possible confrontation, the international community hopes that diplomacy can prevent a full-scale war. Because if this conflict expands further, its consequences will not only affect the Middle East, but the entire world. For now, the tension continues, and the future of this rivalry remains uncertain.